Coming up, we went to a celebration of Harry Potter 2018, and we want to share our experience with you. From the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida, this is the Universal Edition of the Dis Unplugged. This is episode 160 of the Dis Unplugged Universal Edition. The Dis Unplugged Universal Edition is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, experts at helping you plan the perfect universal vacation. Visit them on the web at www.dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Dis Unplugged Universal Edition. I am your host, Craig Williams. Today, I am joined alongside by my co-host, Mr. Ryno Clavin.
Well, hello. Aloha mora. I hate myself for saying it.
Yeah, well, you know, and it also doesn't really mean
hello. If somebody
so.
had said aloha, then I could have said aloha mora.
I think this is like the 7th or 8th time we've tried to make this joke, and it's just still not working. No, it's not working. But thank you for joining me today in what will be a kind of a unique little bit of an episode. Of course, this episode is dedicated to only celebration of Harry Potter 2018, because that was the big deal this past weekend. Big event. Lots of people came out for it. Lots of people attending all the panels and such, including myself and Ryno. Before we get to that, though, I do want to apologize again last week for the bizarre episode that we did end up releasing. I know it wasn't normal compared to what we do, but again, I was sick, so it was the best we could get out in that time period. So now that we're kind of back to normal, I hope things go swimmingly from here on, but we'll have to see. That being said, this episode is different because instead of really taking the time, making a vlog of our entire experience at the event, releasing that already, and then also doing a whole show on everything that we experienced at a celebration of Harry Potter, we figured we might as well just combine the two together. And we kind of treated our entire experience there as a live review of it, even though at some points we forgot to give updates on what was happening. So we are going to go ahead and show you what we were doing at a celebration of Harry Potter 2018. Universal Orlando, just as we said we would be, and we are just about ready to start a celebration of Harry Potter 2018. So the first thing up that we do have is every year for media, we get to do a special pre-start, I believe they would call it a film talent question and answer. So basically, all of the media here, we're about to go sit in a big giant room together. It's going to be very hot, I'm sure, and all the lights are on there. And we're going to get to ask the stars. Come back there, little buddy.
Sorry, I was trying to fix my pants. I almost fell over.
I could tell exactly what you're doing, and it did not make me any less uncomfortable. Well, that just ruined my train of thought. So we're going to get to ask them questions. Of course, the film talent this year includes James and Oliver Phelps, Bonnie Wright, Stanislav Yanevsky, and Natalia Tania. So
I've only been in the room with Bonnie Wright before, I think, unless they came the first year or the second year when Ron Weasley was here.
Yeah, I think they might have been them, but they definitely have taken a break from doing this for at least a year or two. But yeah, so I'm very excited. So it'll be the first time that I ever get to hear from Natalia Tania and
Victor Krum, who I had a crush on.
And then Stanislav Yanevsky. So it's awesome. We're going to go do it.
Like, what are you guys, totally obsessed with?
I'm actually a really big Simpsons fan.
Amazing.
And so what's great about coming to Universal is the Springfield here. And especially on this weekend, everyone's in the Potter parts of the park. So I've got Moe's to myself, which is quite fun.
I love comic books. It's the only thing it's actually the only thing I've ever collected. I started when I was 21, and this actor I was working with gave me the first volume of Preacher, and I read it that night, and it was was like being addicted to drugs. I went to this comic book bookshop the next day. I was like, I want all the volumes, and then I finished that, and I was like, now what? And things like Transmetropolitan, and then I went, I love Gareth Ennis. I love The Boys. It's incredible. So yeah, that's how.
I'm a big fan of the Minions. There was one actually in my pocket, and I had to take it out when we went on one of the rides. I didn't even know he was with me. So, and there is that.
He's telling the truth.
It's no joke. So, Minions, I like them. The army. I wish they were real. I could have my own army. Chinchillas are great.
I suppose a lot of things like sports in general. Fortunately, when we were in town earlier this week, we went to the Magic play, so that was quite cool. Like basketball and like American sports in general. Pro wrestling as well. Love watching that. It's like a really good kiddish day out. It's awesome. Yeah.
I guess anything that's related to the water, but I surf, so I guess that's something that I do like quite a lot. Maybe like, a good 4 times a week or something. So that's a good obsession of mine. Yeah.
Hi. So I know you guys know that Harry Potter fans can be really intense and passionate and excited. And I wondered if you guys could give us maybe an example of an experience you might have had, or the craziest like fan encounter, or something completely bananas that's like, oh my gosh, I'm a part of this world. This is insane.
I got sent baby clothes for like 3 months. Just my character's pregnant when the book came out, and just got sent loads of baby clothes. It was just great. I had a friend that was, about to pop, so I was like, I just want some baby clothes. It's just been a pretty amazing. This person obviously really thought that was happening to me. It's quite amazing, really. Thanks if they're listening. They appreciate it's good.
I once got a really, like a box which was about this big, sent, and it was really heavy, so I was like, this is going to be a good present. And I opened it, and there was a watermelon with a sign, with a sticker that just saying, please sign and return to this address. It wasn't, and so I cut it in half, I ate the one half and sent the other back, so. I can't compete with the watermelon.
Yeah, the other half.
Yeah, I don't think we actually posted it. I think I ate it without. Never mind. Yeah, it was good.
Well, I had a bra fly to me with the message "Marry me," which I
Where was
found.
this? Well, somebody threw a bra at you.
Yeah, a bra, and I've had knickers also. Yeah, people want to marry me for some reason. Find out. It's actually nice to know that people want you.
So you feel like Tom Jones?
A little bit. But yeah, it's funny seeing, things fly to you with little messages and pictures.
I don't know what I can bring after that. I don't know. I don't have any. My memory is so bad in terms of those intensities of those moments of fans. I think my main thing that I love is when you can see a parent is like so thankful that Harry Potter came into their child's life because it meant they went and read the books. And to me, that is always a huge, like, not that it's a sense of achievement because that's not something that I did, but the fact that those movies did make children go back and realize that there's a depth to this world, and that's why it's so incredible, and to make sure that the books are still honored. But in terms of a funny, crazy story, I think it's usually just you're in the most obscure, remote place, and someone recognizes you, and you're just like, wow, it just makes you realize how far the story traveled and went, and that's pretty cool. Like I remember once being in this like tiny village in Crete, like up some mountain, and all these like people came out of their house, and it was like I was walking through this tiny quiet village that looked like it was a ghost town, and suddenly these people were recognizing me, and I was just in the middle of nowhere. So that's cool when you just feel the connectedness that it's a global story.
Just wrapped up our Q&A here, and I think the moral of the story is that Stanislav Yanevsky is freaking hilarious.
Yeah. I don't know if it's on purpose either, but he makes me laugh.
Yeah, I think it might be a moment of language barrier between English and Bulgarian, and I'm sure on top of that, he spent most of his time learning like British English.
Well, I wonder how often he does this.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I got the feeling that it doesn't happen quite often, but it was extremely entertaining.
Yeah.
Every time he got the mic, it was just one of those situations like, what's he going to say next? I don't
wanted
know.
to say some not family-friendly things,
Yeah.
I think, so I think that's where he was struggling to be like, how do I put this in an appropriate way?
Yeah, I agree with that too. But overall, all the talent seemed this year that like they're really into it, and that's different from some years where it feels like they're forcing answers out of it. Sometimes like James and Oliver Phelps get that way because they've done this so many times.
Yeah.
But I feel like having the energy from Natalia and Stanislav this year really helped propel. So it's going to be interesting to see some of the other Q&As throughout the weekend.
There was a good variety this year over the last couple of years that I've seen. Like people seemed, maybe it's the same people that are doing it over and over, and they're like, we got to stop asking the same questions over and over.
Yeah, so I know we'll at least see them again at the opening ceremony tonight, maybe here and there in a couple other places. But yeah, it was very entertaining. So on to the next event.
Who's ready to have some fun out there? I know this is a Harry Potter crowd. Let's make some noise out there. It's the weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. A very warm welcome to all of you wizards, witches, muggles, or as we say here in America, no-mages. What an amazing event we have ahead of us this weekend. We are delighted to have all of you here. Those of you who are joining us once more, and those who are here for the very first time. If you're here for the first time, make some noise. Welcome to a celebration of Harry Potter 2018 right here at Universal Orlando Resort. Rima is starting to warm up the orchestra right now. Harry Potter fans, how's everybody doing out there? Is everyone excited by all of the offerings and activities that can be experienced this year at a celebration of Harry Potter 2018? That is wonderful. Well, let's keep all of that excitement going because we now have a very special treat for everyone. It's time for us all to relive some of the magic of the Harry Potter films with the unbelievable music behind them. As you probably know, the Harry Potter film concert series travels the world and brings to fans everywhere a very unique experience. Watching a full Harry Potter film with the magic of having a live orchestra playing the music. Incredible, right? So, tonight, Cine Concerts will bring you a selection of some of the most iconic scenes and sequences from the films with the help of our very own Orlando Philharmonic Orchestra.
Scared, Harry?
A little.
That's all right. I felt the same way before my first game.
What happened?
I don't really remember. I took a bludger to the head 2 minutes in. Woke up in hospital a week later.
Well, that turned into a whirlwind night. Originally, I thought we were going to have time to talk about everything as we progressed on, but very quickly we went from that question and answer ceremony straight out to the opening event that happened on the Universal Studios Music Plaza stage.
I'm not quite clear what the major announcement was, but there was an announcement.
Yeah, there are always announcements every year. I'm not saying this in a mean way. We fall for it every year. They promise major announcements and
go up.
Yeah, everyone's like, well, is there a new land? Is there a new ride? I mean, obviously,
they're going to give us the title. What is it called?
Clearly, that's not happening. But little announcements here and there. Stuff like Andrew Lincoln is going to read the audiobook of Quidditch Through the Ages.
And I think a lot of people were not aware that he was British because there was a lot of really confused reactions in the audience where I was like, oh yeah, Andrew Lincoln, Love Actually, come on guys.
Oh yeah, you don't say.
All I could think is there's got to be a part in Quidditch Through the Ages where he's going to be like, and here's what it would sound like if an American named Carl were running.
Carl. So there's little stuff like that. The books are being re-released again for the umpteenth time.
Yeah, for real.
For the 20th anniversary this time, though, so big deal. But the surprising thing is...
I think this is the first time in hardcover they're being re-released.
Well,
I don't know, but yeah,
the big thing was I've never seen the film talent out on the stage for such a short amount of time.
Oh, yeah, it was so weird. It was like, okay, here they are, guys. They announced each one. They were like, and there they are. And they left.
Yeah.
And I was like... The first time I think I came with you, it was like the girl who plays Evanna Lynch, the Luna Lovegood. She was out there. She was reading stuff from Pottermore. She was making the big announcements about the name of the American schools, all that stuff.
Yeah, there was a lot more in past from the stars themselves. Not that that's a problem. There's plenty of chances throughout the weekend for people to actually see them. But, the cool part is I really loved the film concert series. Getting to watch the live orchestra play some of the songs from Harry Potter with the scenes from the movies playing right beside them. But just like any orchestral thing, I feel like people underestimate what they're actually going to watch and they get bored with it very quickly because it didn't take long for people to just start talking and ignoring it, and it drives me insane.
Yeah, it did go on for a while. Well, what was really cool about it though is it was very flawless. Like I was just like, am I listening to the movie or is that the orchestra? That was my first experience with something like that. I know they've been, that's becoming a more popular trend with like Harry Potter and La La Land did it, and some
Star
other
Wars
Back to the Future I think did it too. Yeah. And I thought that was really neat. I think the mistake here is that they went on for like 30 minutes.
Yeah, I still enjoyed it.
I loved it. Don't get me wrong, because I love that stuff, and I love seeing the music taken out of the movies and then brought back into the movies. But yeah, I know what you're saying. Like there were people that were.
It's just be respectful anytime live musicians are playing.
Yeah, but also like it's Harry Potter. Everyone's there for Harry Potter. Stop talking about your other crap. We're here to talk about Harry Potter.
Exactly, and let's talk about the last thing that we got to experience.
I bet.
Oh, so the last thing that we saw tonight is we came over to Islands of Adventure then, and we got to experience the nighttime lights at Hogwarts Castle.
Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
A very long title, but honestly, I was more impressed in person than I was seeing the videos of the Hollywood version.
Yeah.
Because I know I was worried about it due to that, but overall, I thought it was an enjoyable show. Really well done.
It's good. It's short. I feel like it's maybe shorter than the Christmas one. Maybe like
definitely
half the length. So I think maybe it'll play a lot better with like traffic issues and stuff like that. I liked it. If you haven't seen the Christmas one, no harm, no foul. I do think the Christmas one was really special, which I'm actually glad stayed being special because it was like your present at Christmas. This is outstanding still, nonetheless. Yeah. So I don't mean to put this one down at all.
Yeah, Christmas was superior, but you're not seeing a bad show if you do catch this one. I know it's not running every night, and
there it went.
Yep, fireworks just went off behind us from it. It doesn't run every night, so you'll only catch it here and there. And hopefully a good schedule comes out that really shows when it's going to happen. It'll happen often because I thought it was a good show.
Yeah.
I think they need to keep upping it with these projection shows, and I hope this is just the second of many others that we get out here. Mm-hmm. But that's going to do it for day one here. We'll be back with you for day two tomorrow. It's going to seem like no time at all for you. For us, it's going to be a day. But we'll see you tomorrow. Morning two at a celebration of Harry Potter. We're going to start the day off by going to one of the sound stages. I don't know which one.
either 33 or 20, I believe. We're gonna go inside the Expo.
That's where the merch is.
That's where all the fun activities are that aren't on stages. So here we go.
So I kind of like to create some quite clean images.
There's nothing hidden in your head the sorting hat can't see. So try me on and I will tell you where you ought to be.
All right, no pressure, no pressure.
Conscientious and hard-working.
Hard-working?
Great thing to be. Hufflepuff!
A Hufflepuff, there you are.
Times something really unexpected happens when it turns red and then pops out a name. Harry Potter!
Together, have your cameras in photo. 1, 2, 3. And these are for you guys to keep.
Here we go. Let's see it. Let's see it. No, Courtney, all of it, please. Yes, please don't shortchange John. Here we go, let's make some noise out there. There it is, very nice. How about troopers for these guys? So, John, let's give these two a big round of applause.
Well, what we've got is we've got one of our old magical wands that you know and love well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cast a spell and see what happens. So if I do this, something happens. So let's see you do one.
Okay.
Oh, how about this? Oh no, come on, you can do it. You've got to do it better than that. Come on.
All right, let's make some noise out there, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. I'm the lunge. I think we're getting a good lunge on me. There it is. Whoa. Ladies and gentlemen, how about a big round of applause? What a way to finish. Let's hear it from Natalia Tenna and John Richardson and the team at Warner Brothers Studio Tour in London. You can see more from Warner Brothers Studio Tour in London and one combat choreographer, Paul Harris, appearing throughout the weekend. Check out your schedules for details.
It's the twins, it's not us. So we had to kind of scrap any natural instinct to do nice design and think, well, what was their motivation? They just wanted to sell as much product as possible. So we looked at really kind of, for reference material, we looked at firework packaging, cheap food packaging from the 1970s, lots of kind of oriental tea packaging and food packaging. And that means also looking at, for example, this sort of clashing colours, typefaces that don't quite make sense. Even the printing process, we wanted to make things look like they'd been done in a hurry, done to just sell as much product so that when you went into that shop, you just needed to buy it all, which I think is what that scene captivates when you see it captures.
And the fun thing as well that we had was to invent new products as well, to enlarge the offering in the shop. And we used to have like very crazy meetings with the set decorating team.
Power meetings.
Yes.
Very serious meetings where we're trying to come up with product names and everyone's looking very serious, and then someone kind of comes up with, names for sticky trainers and
Come like a million with our faces,
and then you look at each other and think, I'm working on this project that's completely mad.
It has been a while since our first update this morning, and I apologize for that, but we've just been romping around.
In our rompers.
I don't know if that's a saying, but no, we've been doing a lot. So obviously, first thing we did hit this morning, like we said, was the Expo, both the one in Soundstage 21 which that featured a lot of the...
It was the studio tour, right? Was that one?
No, 21 was a lot of the interactive stuff, so including the Fantastic Beasts virtual reality, the Audible game show, which we have a winner.
I won.
Audible Trivia. You listen to portions of the audiobook and you get points when you can guess which passage comes from which book. Sure, there was an easier way to explain that, but
I thought for sure I'd lost because I'm pretty sure I'm the last one to finish, but I only got one wrong. Give me a cool notebook.
I'm proud to say that I did not come in last place.
No,
I can't say I came in first. Only you can.
I could say that, yeah.
But I didn't come in last. But I'm not revealing my score. So there's that. So there's lots of cool stuff in there like that. You take your moving picture with Pottermore. They had the Harry Potter and the Cursed Child exhibit back with some costumes and props.
Is that what they were doing at Pottermore? I couldn't see.
You're standing so far away.
Sorry. Is that what they were doing at Pottermore?
That's what they were doing.
I saw people taking the photos, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
So that was cool. Yeah.
So that was kind of the highlights in there. A little bit of chalk art happening or painting. I don't know. Oil paintings, maybe.
No, it
could have
chalk.
been. It was chalk?
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a fun couch gag in there where you could be like Slughorn coming up out. I did not do that. No freaking way was that happening. And yeah, that was kind of the highlights in there. Little props here and there throughout.
That was better than the other Expo.
Yeah, and then in Soundstage 33, the big one, the one that usually has like the long hours long wait, inside that only had a couple things. The Scholastic area.
The studio tour.
The Harry Potter, the exhibition.
Yeah.
And then Mina Lima. So like with Mina Lima, you had a chance when we were in there to meet Eduardo, Mina, and
Lady Lima.
Mina and Lima. You had a chance to meet both of them. With the exhibition, you could get up close to some of the costumes used in the films. Very cool. With Scholastic, you had a chance to sign the Muggle wall like you do every year.
And they gave the posters out like they did the last couple of years too. This one was the I'm assuming it's been the last 2 years because this year was the third poster of the third book.
Yeah.
Like this one of the Night Bus.
Yeah, I know they gave them out like every year, but I just don't remember what was with it every year.
And I remember what it was. It was the animated copies were coming out.
That's right.
So it was the cover of the animated copy.
And then with the Harry Potter studio tour in London, that Warner Brothers studio tour London featuring Harry Potter, that was focused this year on effects. So like last year we got to go in and see Aragog. This time it was all about effects, so we saw how the floating candles work. Surprise, they're on strings. We got to see a little bit of how the Goblet of Fire
how it launches, it launched out the paper and stuff.
Yeah. We got to see how they did the effect with the door when all the letters were flying through for Harry Potter, as well as Umbridge's dress catching on fire from the fireworks.
That was cool. Yeah.
Lots of little cool stuff in there. So the Expo, I'd say shoot for the one in Soundstage 21 over the one in 33, but by the time this is out, this is already over because this doesn't get released until Thursday.
Yeah,
so sorry people. It's called Good Advice, but too late. And then besides that, we've just been kind of taking in the whole experience. We've seen some of the panels. We saw the special effects panel this morning. That was actually really awesome.
They made some polyjuice potion and made some poor people in the audience drink it.
Yeah, they did do that. That was really interesting. I'm glad we stopped to see that one. Learned a lot about the effects. Natalia Tena, I still don't know how to pronounce her name correctly, but Nymphadora Tonks came out again and talked a little bit more with the crowd about how some of the effects were done.
Yeah.
Specifically with her, that was cool. We also saw the Mina Lima panel, and again, this time they shared mostly artwork from Weasley's Wizard Wheezes, which I love because there's so much design in that store that there was a lot that they could show through all the packaging and stuff. So overall, it's been a nice relaxing day, but still got more to see.
Check it out. So the
top right-hand corner, if any of you know anything about music, those are your measure numbers, your bars. To the right of that are how many beats in the bar. Top left is what we call SMPTE time code. I try to ignore that because if I look at that off, my brain fries, but that kind of gives you the exact amount of time we are into the movie, to the frame, down to the frame, down to 24 frames per second. So if you're watching that ticker at the top right, you're noticing how often it's changing in speed. And that is one of the most difficult things in these concerts, is going from A to B to C, then back to A prime, and then C prime, then B, then L, and Z. It's all over the map. And fortunately, we have the pleasure of working with some of the best orchestras on the planet. And it helps to have such amazing musicians on stage. So Streamers and Punches, basically, they go back all the way to the 1930s. Max Steiner, many of you may know the name, many of you may not. He's written music to amazing movies such as King Kong, the original King Kong, Casablanca, Treasure of Sierra Madre, Gone with the Wind. One of my favorites, I like to tell this story whenever I can. He wrote that main theme on a napkin on a plane from Los Angeles to New York to meet with the director, and it's now become one of the most immortal themes of all time. But they would physically punch holes in the film as it ran through the projector, and then you see this white flash. They would also write these streams across the film with colored pencil, which eventually made it basically an animation. So they would see this, usually it was angled, and it would just go from left to right, and it gave an upcoming marker for a conductor to know when to be at a hit. So that's kind of the background of this. And these are the types of things that we really do need help with on stage, otherwise, how do you keep it together?
A lot of those music, they have hits, right? They have specific moments that are really important in the movie that are hit with music. And if you've ever wondered what the conductor's doing up there, like frankly, what is he doing? Is he just waving his arms or what?
Usually for help.
He's keeping time. The entire orchestra is watching him to know how fast or how slow to play. Because some of them know the music really well, and they could just jam through it in a normal, chamber music show or orchestral show without video. That's okay, because it plays a little faster or slower, nobody notices. But you would totally notice with a movie if the music was ahead or behind the scene that you remember. And keeping this precisely in sync with the movie is a huge challenge. And this little piece of technology, combined with Justin and our conductors and incredible knowledge of the music itself, helps us do that really well.
It's a new day, and things have really taken a turn here at a celebration of Harry Potter 2018.
Rain.
Yeah, we left you yesterday shortly after seeing, I don't even remember. We saw some panel, and we walked around. We saw a little bit of the costumes in Hogsmeade, a little bit of them in Diagon Alley, a lot of them in Diagon Alley.
Yeah, it's some good picture opportunities over there.
Oh yeah, excellent.
Not that they're not both great, but...
Yeah, then we also suffered through wand combat choreography with Paul Harris.
Yeah, always a delight.
Yes, always.
A lot of grunting from the crowd.
Yeah, plenty of grunting. More grunting than I'm comfortable with, I guess I should say. And then that was basically it for us yesterday. They had the evening tribute at night, which we didn't attend, but I watched it at home.
Streaming online, yeah.
Yeah, it was streaming online, and I did the same thing. I just couldn't get up and get over here on time for the...
Like a little step forward.
Little step forward. One of the panels we missed yesterday was on the costumes of Harry Potter, and unfortunately missed it yesterday. Wanted to go watch it today. Didn't make it. So I watched it online this morning, like I did the one last night, and that's something I do have to say about this event, that it's great. They are making sure that every marquee event is being live streamed.
Yeah, that's cool.
So that way you're able to watch it from home if you didn't get to experience it. Today we did make it back in time.
Step over a little bit. I'm getting really wet on my back.
Well,
sorry. It's like blowing in here now. We were fine a second ago.
It went from a straight up and down to a blow.
Yeah.
So let's take another step just to be. This is really playing off on the audio, I'm sure.
The
but,
Dementors have swooped in and ruined the fun.
Yeah, video, you understand what's happening. But yeah, today we ended up making it over for the concert film series panel, which, if you knew nothing about how a score is created for a film, this was perfect. Because it was essentially a lesson on that.
Well, I thought it was interesting because I know that they don't do all the score at once, but this kind of really highlighted how they get an orchestra to get up there and perform the thing the whole way through. And that's something I never really thought about.
Exactly, especially after taking what really isn't preserved well and trying to recreate it in that full sense. Very interesting stuff, but yeah, for the rest of the day, there's little panels and stuff here and there. I'm guessing most people are going to get afraid by the rain and start to head out here, which is, I think, what we're going to end up doing. But
yeah,
we'll be back in the studio here to give you our final thoughts on a celebration of Harry Potter 2018. So let's go back there. So that was a look at our experience at a celebration of Harry Potter 2018. But I don't want to just end it on that note, so we'll just do a quick recap on our summary of our feelings of the event afterwards. So, Ryno, 3 days of fun. We didn't hit everything we wanted to do. We missed a couple things along the way, like we said. But overall, your enjoyment of the weekend.
It was good. For me, it's like a convention, but at Universal Studios. So if you've ever been to like a Comic-Con, and well, maybe not Comic-Con, but like our local Comic-Con, I cannot speak English, a local convention before, somewhere like MegaCon that we've been, something like that, or there is a Harry Potter convention, but like it seems like that, but spread into the 2 theme parks, and I don't know. There's something about seeing everybody who loves Harry Potter in one place, like still celebrating it so much. Like, I just, one of my favorite things to see is like the people in costumes in like Diagon Alley or Hogsmeade, like in those places. I'm a whore for good photos.
Yeah, this okay, so we complained a lot going into this event that we were worried that it was just going to be a rehash of year after year after year like it has been. And I would say for the 5th year, they did a great job of freshening it up. All the panels that we did attend, the ones I listened to online, were actually really unique and really enjoyable for the most part. Once I sat down and really thought about it, it was good information on the making of the movies. But that therein lies is the problem. With the exception of the Mina Lima panel, which talked about Weasley's Wizard Wheezes in the movie as well as the version in Diagon Alley, I believe they just really didn't focus at all on the theme parks and Harry Potter in the theme parks in this one.
They did that last year, right? Or was it the year before? They were like, it might have been the year before. Yeah. It might have been the first year after Diagon Alley was open. There was a real big focus on that stuff.
Yeah, there was. And so it's just, I feel like they still can't get the right balance. This year was movie heavy, which I think that's where most of the people are fans, first and foremost, from the movies. And the book stuff, in my opinion, that never lands. While some people may be like obsessed with the books, read it 100 times, the reason why they are so obsessed with Harry Potter, it really, I don't think they can translate into good panels without having J.K. Rowling come up and actually talk about it herself.
Yeah, because like even the actors aren't authorities on the novels. I mean, Michael Gambon did he even read the books? I don't think he did.
No, absolutely not. So basically, unless Evanna Lynch is there, schooling people on the books, that's kind of a lost cause. So with the movie, they can bring the actors in, and this is no offense. I'm glad they got the actors that they did this time around. Like I said in the video, Natalia Tena and Stanislav Yanevsky, I think they were a breath of fresh air for the event this year. While their parts were very small in a Harry Potter series, it was great to just have different voices. I'm sorry, it's at the point when they do these Q&As, and we've made comments on it before, but it was reconfirmed.
they just are answering the same questions year after year after year. And even if you haven't been to a celebration of Harry Potter, you've probably heard it in interviews in other places before. They're not able to break new ground.
Well, Bonnie Wright seems particularly like tired of answering these same questions. And like she kind of hints toward other stuff that she wants you to ask about, but nobody ever bites. Her directing stuff. You're like, nobody asked about that, you know?
Well, exactly. And James and Oliver Phelps, they're happy to answer the same questions over and over again, and they give the exact same answer each time. They are consistent with that. But how many more times do I need to find out that one of their Patronuses is going to be like a freaking hedgehog or something? It's like all over and over again. If you could make a port key out of anything, what would it be? Oh, a golf club. It's like, I get it. You don't do anything anymore.
Yeah.
You've been in a couple things. And the one time that it was actually pointed out in a good way, and I feel bad it had to happen during the media question and answer ceremony, is that someone flat out asked, like, oh, well, if you could bring one of your other characters from outside Harry Potter into the Harry Potter universe, what would it be? And obviously, like, Natalia Tena was able to quickly say a Game of Thrones.
They started that question with if you could bring any character.
Yeah.
And they said it could be one that you've been. And she started with an answer of a character she played. And the others were like, I guess we should talk around this question. And I was like, you could say Spider-Man. You didn't have to. It didn't have to be somebody you were, but they were. It was clear that you were like. Ooh.
Well, then when they asked for like, oh, someone we have to play, and then the person's like, yeah, sure, someone you've already played before.
Yeah,
and that's when it was like and so Stanislav has been in stuff too. So he was able to answer, but then it was like James and Oliver Phelps have only done like a couple things outside Harry Potter. So they basically went to the one role that they each played. And then it gets to Bonnie Wright. And I don't believe she's done anything. And she wasn't able to answer because she hasn't.
Yeah.
So it was just like, they need to find something different with these stars. It's not working with what's currently happening.
You know,
so
I'd like to see them do, I know we've talked, the guy, what's his name? Is it Paul Harris, the wand choreographer?
Yeah.
I like the idea of wand choreography because it's a cute idea that you have, all the fans have their wands and they can learn some of the moves from the movie from the guy who was in the movie, who helped with the one movie. But it's like, I wish there was more of that sort of a thing. I don't have an option to bring up, but okay, so one of the newer panels that I did really enjoy that we went to was the one with the special effects, the gentleman who ran the special effects department, and that was really cool. And he brought along stuff about how they made stuff, and that I love that. But he also showed us how they made Polyjuice Potion, and then he had people come up and drink and have it. And if there was some sort of they could have tutorials or classes or something where people can go and be like, here's how we make butterbeer, or here's how we do this, or maybe this is something you could go and do at your house or something like that. That would be kind of cool.
No, I get that. With the Polyjuice Potion, that's a great one. Learn special effects that were used on the movie use special effects that were used in the movie at home. Start to learn trades that would help you. Go on the cooking
Throw
side.
Your own Harry Potter party,
It doesn't have to be the butterbeer. Obviously, Universal will never give out the exact recipe for that. But Harry Potter inspired foods. Bring in stuff like that. Heck, I'd even say, you've just said with Paul Harris, set up. Don't just do a demonstration once and be done with it. And then this year he took people in for private stuff beyond that if they were really good at it. Maybe instead of that, do one of the things I hated most about Star Wars Celebration in the middle of the night was a bunch of nerds just getting into lightsaber battles. But that's the kind of stuff that people want to do. Do a stupid wand battle thing.
Set up a green screen room, and I bet people would wait for hours. There's, I think it was Pottermore was doing the moving
photo.
Yeah, something like that. That clearly was a hit. Or like, those sound stages, I get that there's a lot of people waiting for them, but if you cornered off an area and it was something where you just took your wand and maybe they've got like the tip of it painted green or something, and you throw the wand and they could just do you battling like Dumbledore and paste you over Harry or something from a shot. Battling Dumbledore. We would never. You know who I meant.
Yeah, I'd love to see just stuff like that. Give people a place where they can like fake duel and stuff like that,
or set up special photo opportunities because clearly this is a franchise that loves to be photographed. And Diagon Alley, we saw that in Diagon Alley. It was just people everywhere in costume. It just looks amazing,
I would love something that happened after I was already out of college. I've never got to experience it in person. I would love it if they can take one of the massive sound stages. I don't know how big this would need to be. But I've never seen Quidditch played. Like collegiate Quidditch.
They could do that. Oh, collegiate Quidditch. Yeah, okay, yeah. I thought you meant like putting people on harnesses and stuff.
No, not harnesses. Like collegiate Quidditch. Quidditch. I've never seen that played. It's obviously
You've never seen
not
The Intern.
Oh shoot! I have seen The Intern, and they do fight in that. But something like that, I've never seen it live. It would be cool if they could invite Quidditch teams from some of the colleges, come down, do a tournament, and people can watch you play Quidditch there. That's something that would get me excited.
There is a team in Florida too. Flagler County or Flagler College in St. Augustine has a Quidditch team. Like they have I think they might even be the people who originated. I'm not 100% sure. Do not quote me on that. The movie was The Internship as well, not The Intern, but they have shirts for it. Like when you go down there, it'll say like Flagler Quidditch or whatever. But that's a really good idea. I was just thinking while you were saying that too, why don't they have do what they used to do with the Bee at Hollywood Studios and have a broom with the seat? Yeah. And have people they should have that regularly though. That should be like a normal thing. But stuff like that, like you want to make some money on this event, make a little extra, little something. But I will say I do respect about this event quite a bit is that I did just say, here's a way to make money at this event. Other than merchandise, they don't charge you for anything.
Exactly.
So I don't want to put that out there and start being like Disney, where they'll charge you for all the extra stuff.
No, and on top of that, there's also the potential to get extra little handouts and stuff like at the booth for Hogwarts
Somebody
Mystery.
won a notebook, didn't they?
Well, you won a notebook at the Audible one. Everyone who went through the Hogwarts Mystery, getting to play the demo of the new app, got handed notebook.
That was a nice notebook, yeah.
Yeah, no, and if you went through the studio tour, you got a replica of one of the Harry Potter, one of the letters that he got sent in the first book and movie. So there was lots of little things here and there. They were handing out pins. They were handing out
the posters,
really nice
the
pins.
Scholastics was handing out the big poster, and those are always beautiful.
Yeah, so lots of little included things if you go into the expo and stuff. So besides the issues they're having with the celebrities and making panels really interesting for everything, in the future, I would like to see more interactivity with guests because that's what I ultimately think is why this is a success every year because people enjoy, like a convention, they enjoy dressing up and they know their community is all there together in one place.
They don't want to be standing in that grass pit in front of the music stage. You know what I mean? Like that's fine for when it was like wand combat and they do the cool thing with the Death Eaters and stuff, but it's like what you said. I wish there was more interactivity. And you know what? I honestly, if you start pursuing that, I don't think there'll be as much of an emphasis on the actors because people, you bring in these actors, you do a small Q&A for the media people that we were lucky to attend, and then you do the big one. And that's like it. Sometimes they pop up in other panels, like Natalia was in the special effects panel and stuff, but it's kind of like they don't do signings or anything, do they?
I believe they do for some people who book like the biggest vacation package. They have like a private one.
There you go then.
That was in the past. I don't remember if that was included this year.
I just didn't hear anything about it, so I wasn't sure. But you know what I mean? Like I'm not going there being like I'm going to be best friend with Oliver Phelps, Yeah,
at the end of the day,
that's not his name, is it?
James and Oliver Phelps, yeah.
Oh, good for me. Okay.
At the end of the day, I think they just need to make this more of a normal convention. The panels, include them still and realize, like all the panels that we saw, besides, I think, Q&A, Q&A is a packed house. In the opening night event, that's always packed. Other than that, these things are half full. And that's just kind of accept that situation. Pack out the expo with lots of interactive, fun stuff to do. Find new, unique activities, maybe like Quidditch or special photo ops around the park thrown in.
Like maybe a parade or something of the people. They had the costume. It seemed like this year, maybe more than even last year, they were really like come in costume. Yeah. They wanted people to come in costume. And so, there were a lot of really cool creative costumes. Maybe have like a little show or parade or something.
Well, that was my final bit. Just ditch the whole idea of the celebrity appeal to this. Still have the celebrities at an evening event and do Q&A with them during those portions. But you know what? I'll flat out say it. Make those like a normal convention where they may or may not make an appearance at a panel. They're mostly there to sign autographs and do meet and greets. Charge for it. I know it's expensive on expensive, but if you want the chance to meet them, do it that way, and then make the convention, make the whole thing more like a convention where you come, you dress up, and you have a chance to geek out with other people. Really embrace that. It's right now. It's just too much in between, and that if they would go that route and make it more like a normal convention, I think I would get into it more, and I could be drawn back in. Because right now, I feel like this all applies of people who call themselves Harry Potter fans. I would say this event is to the 1% of Harry Potter fans.
Yeah.
It's for those, and that's why you see people show up to the event, say, I had fun, got to do a couple things here and there, waited way too long in line for the expo, missed out on Q&A, stuff like that. Like, it's still a good time, just not amazing. For the people who are taking the full costumes in, going balls to the wall on it, they're the ones walking out saying, I can't wait for next year. And that's because they're doing it that way. But when Universal's setting it up like this, it's just still, there's not enough structure to it, in my opinion. But hey, for people who enjoy it out there, that's great. I hope to enjoy it more in the future if they just start making these little changes, make it a little bit just more well-rounded.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, well, that's, I think, about wraps it up for our discussion on a celebration of Harry Potter. We will join back up with that when they start announcing celebrities for next year and the event for next year. But for now, we're going to shift all our focus coming up next week on the first weekend of Universal Mardi Gras, and not even just weekend, because it's a whole week thing. So we'll be out at the first night of Mardi Gras covering that and delivering you a show on it next week. So very excited. Let the good times roll. Mes amis. So if you need any more information on this show or the others in the podcast network, visit disunplugged.com, home of our show notes, and links to our social media channels on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and more. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you still haven't yet, as well as hit that thumbs up, as well as comments on it. And then if you're listening to this on iTunes, please subscribe, rate, and review us. We would really appreciate that. But thank you very much to everyone out there who watched and listened to this. Thank you very much to Ryno for sitting in on this. And we actually have a little special. Instead of an outro, we are going to go out with for the people listening to this, you're just going to hear the outro. But for the people watching, we're going to go out on a special video that Ryno put together that sums up our weekend at a celebration of Harry Potter. So thanks for watching as always. And remember, no resolutions.
Wizard Harry. A wizard. I'm a what? A wizard. A wizard. Blimey, Harry, didn't you ever wonder where